Hello, my beautiful queens. I'm so excited to be with you here today. My name is Maria Tolstykh, and I am the founder, coach, and priestess at the Pleasure Temple. I want to tell you a little bit about who I am, what I do, and what I'll be sharing here. First of all, what is a pleasure temple? Pleasure temple is the space where we gather to connect to our bodies, to connect to our sensuality, and to claim the power of our sexual life force. And when we do that, when we women do that, magic happens in our lives, in our experiences, and in the world around us. I strongly believe that that is the thing that has been missing from our world, that led to so many social, environmental, and other types of disconnection, trauma, and negative experiences. So I want to share a little bit about me. I was born and grew up in Russia. And yes, I have had some good moments here and there, but overall grew up in a family with a lot of parental neglect. I developed an eating disorder at the age of about 5 or 6. I started with overeating, then dieting, then ultimately developed bulimia. And that is because of the dynamics that I experienced in my family. Was pretty good students. And at the age of 15, I was raped by a stranger on the street, and that completely disconnected me from my body. It was a very traumatic experience. My parents were alcoholics, so that also contributed a lot to my experience of myself and my relationship to the world and how I experienced myself in relationship to the world. That put me on the route of self-destruction, really. Drinking, smoking, doing drugs. I became a dancer in a strip club, which is a separate story at the age of 19. And, kind of was going down the rabbit hole. At some point, I reached a level where I realized, okay, I'm either going to really kill myself soon with what I'm doing, or I got to change something. And thank God I decided to change something. Around the same time, I moved to the United States. Still was dancing in a strip club, which now I realize was really a part of my path in understanding the sacredness of sexuality and creating temple experiences for both men and women. I also found spirituality. I found yoga, mindfulness, meditation, became a yoga teacher. I was a devoted Kundalini yoga student for many years, for studying different spiritual traditions, different forms of meditations, all of it, until ultimately got to learned about psychosomatics and how our energetic and emotional states create illnesses in the body. And I was like, oh my God, there's something there. And I decided to go to school and study psychology. I got my undergraduate degree in psychology from UCLA, went to graduate school to San Diego State, and, went on a successful track in corporate world. And at some point I was thinking, I was like, okay, here I am. Okay, I have a strong spiritual practice. I look great. I had an eating disorder. I just didn't know that. I have a really good career. What's wrong? Like, what is missing in my life? Until I found one of my mentors and had this potent experience of experiencing my own sexual energy and the potency of its aliveness and my connection to my body. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing my entire life. Where was that? And so that put me on the path of experiencing lots of different things. My sexual awakening. I remember, being in a plant ceremony with my mentor, and afterwards having like a night of orgasms. And I was like, oh my God, like, what is that? learning embodiment and what it is to connect to my body, to connect to my senses, and really feel alive in my body. And I've also learned that when I own my sexuality and when I own my pleasure for me, not for anyone else, magic happens. And that is how I also, as a woman, can claim my power. More on that later and how exactly that happens, on neurology, biology of that, the history of that, all of that. We'll talk about that later. But at that time, I was like, okay, this feels like a calling to create experiences, pieces for women, also for men, where we can connect to our body and experience what it's like to feel fully alive in our bodies, to own the potency and power of our sexual energy, and through that, deliver the most sacred, the most juicy, the most yummy creations in the physical world. And that became my purpose. So that is what I'm here to do. That is what we create in Pleasure Temple. And I'll be sharing more with you about specific tools, practices, information about pleasure and how you can create more pleasure in your life. I'm here in at your service. Once again, my name is Maria Tolstykh. I'm sending you so much love, my dear queen, and we'll continue later.